I'm here now with Fran and George, and we have taken and looked at all the guns at Shields, and we have kind of assembled about 8 of them to go through that they feel is kind of fitting my needs, so we can really narrow this down. So I'm going to turn it over to George and Fran now, and we're going to go through the guns step by step.
Fran, if you don't mind, take just a moment and tell us each firearm that you pulled out for us.
Okay, let's start with one that in this portion we're not going to do a lot of talking about, but it's the LCP by Ruger. It's a 380. I guess the big point that we want to make with this firearm is it's the differentiation between a concealed carry handgun and one that can be concealed carry but more typical for home defense. And one of the first things you'll notice is it's not much bigger than the size of my hand, and you won't get a real good grip on it. You're going to actually have, typically anyone will have one finger missing off the bottom of the grip. And again, the whole idea, the premise of this is have a gun, have something that's easy to conceal. Okay, we'll talk again about this later, but I just wanted to show the difference compared to a gun that's more easy to handle in a home defense situation. Okay, with that, the firearms that we have here, I'll run through them by name, and then we'll talk a little bit about each one. This is the Glock 19, happens to be 19 is a 9mm. It's their, what they call a compact size, is kind of their little bit smaller full-size firearm. The second one is an XDM. The M suffix stands for match grade. It has some neat features that we'll talk about relative to grip size, barrel size. The one I grabbed happens to be in 9mm, also comes in 40 and 45. The next one is one of the biggest up-and-comers on the market, is the Smith & Wesson M&P, which stands for military and police. I grabbed this firearm in a 40. Again, it comes in 9, 40, or 45. A real interesting one that's been real huge in the market over the last 3 or 4 years, I think it was introduced about 4 years ago, is the Taurus Judge. The Judge is an interesting firearm in that it shoots both projectiles, so with a 45 Colt, as well as, depending on the size of the chamber, a 2.5 or 3-inch 410 defense round. Smith & Wesson is coming out with a version similar to this that also adds 45 ACP, the venerable 45 ACP. Another one that can cross over to concealed carry or home protection is the Smith & Wesson Airweight in 38 or 38 plus P. If you think about plus P stands for plus pressure, or kind of a 38 on steroids, somewhere between a 38 and a 357, giving you a little bit more energy that we talked about earlier. Next one happens to be a Kimber in 1911, has been designed by John Browning between 1905 and 1911, adopted by the military in 11, and still the most shot firearm by die sales to this day. So last year was the 100-year anniversary of this firearm. And then the one that the military has been using as a primary firearm since 1985 is the Beretta M9, and this happens to be a 92 FS, the difference being just the orientation of the sights, where the M9 will have a post rear sight instead of a 3-dot rear sight.